The goal is in sight. The final 5th season of YuGiOh Peak Ds is here. I was always a bit put off by the synchro concept and I probably still won't like it in the TCG. But bro, how wrong can I be? Season 5 of YuGiOh 5Ds is probably the best YuGiOh season ever. The duels are insanely well done, you are totally invested. The development is intense. No fillers, just 20 fantastic episodes, nicely animated, and they nailed the ending perfectly. The final boss is here, and of course, he immediately fuses with his motorcycle to finish the duel. He wants to do it with his own robot, for which he only has to sacrifice the cores of the other 3. Not only does that cause a lightning show greater than Sasuke's Kirin, but he even manages to absorb Yusei's shooting star dragon. Back during the robot apocalypse, 4 people actually survived, among them Aporia and our Shell Guy. When Aporia died, Shell Guy split his heart into 3 and voila, the Otsutsuki was born. Now, to change the future, they want to beat the robots and destroy New Domino City themselves. A plan even L himself couldn't have come up with better. Yusei manages to block an attack, destroy his dragon inside the machine and get it back onto his field. Still, things are looking bad because the robot just got a firmware update and now deals double piercing damage. Jack and Crow want to watch the final up close, so Jack can explain the card effect he set, which Yusei activates to defend himself. Black Winged Dragon and Red Nova get their time to shine again to power up Shooting Star Dragon, but that gets blocked as well. Things get even worse when the plan completely backfires and, Majin Buu style, the boss absorbs Nova and Black Winged Dragon. Yusei fights off destruction like a true protagonist, but this Susanoorobomon has more backup plans than Shikamaru. First he throws both dragons into the blender, not to deal damage immediately, but to bring them back later and hit Yusei, dropping him to just 400 life points while boosting himself by 600. The tide turns. All dragons are destroyed, only to return to Yusei's side. Those guys switch sides more often than Sasuke. Black Winged Dragon steps up first, weakening the monster and landing the first hit. Then it's Nova's turn and finally, Stardust Dragon finished it. It's done! Susanoorobomon is defeated and explodes. The world has been saved. At least the sky turns blue again and Team 5Ds is officially crowned World Champion. But wait a minute, we've still got 17.5 episodes left. Oh right, during the duel the Infinity Circuit completed itself, which means the city in the sky can now not only shut down everything electric with its counter spin, but will also be the city on the ground within 12 hours. The evacuation of the citizens begins, while Team 5D's mission to save the world isn't over yet. Thanks to the power of the Crimson Dragon, their bikes are still operational, but Sherry shows up, delivering a Future Diary style prediction. Yusei's death is inevitable. Meanwhile, Shell Guy is busy fixing up his old friend, piecing him back together. Sherry switched sides after seeing the future through the One. I've seen the future! Yusei, you will die if you come up here! The One told me! Who? The cares. You damn wish version of Yugi! Team 5Ds doesn't care at all. Luckily, Team Ragnarok steps in to help. Using their D-Wheels and Norse gods, they generate enough energy to complete Goodwin's bridge. On the Rainbow Road, they race toward the true final boss and the grand finale of 5Ds. Once they arrive there, they think they are ready for anything, but not for the spell card Black Hole. After all, that card is banned. Unharmed but separated, the team has to move on. Each member heads to their respective gear to reverse the energy flow. But it wouldn't be YuGiOh without Duels standing in the way. Crow and Akiza run into Sherry, and while Crow tries to reason with her using her own card, it's no use. After all, the One seems to be Shenron's brother, granting her a wish if she helps with his plan. So a duel is the only solution to knock some sense back into her. Crow and Akiza team up for a tag duel. each facing off against a Sherry clone. Sherry immediately activates a field spell that splits the two apart and transforms all monsters into weird blob tokens. But even those fists can smack the shit out of one. But it looks like they are dueling more against themselves. They have to clear the field just to confirm it. Yeah, it was just a mindfuck game created by Eisen. Or something like that. But that only adds more stress as they also destroyed the spell card The One, which is why it is now activated. Sherry is ready to wipe out all of New Domino City, hoping The One will use Monster Reborn to bring her parents back. She activates a new field spell card that looks very unpleasant for the user. But it's unpleasant for everyone. If a monster is summoned with less attack than Sherry's life points, it's destroyed and everyone takes 800 damage. And since Sherry has the most life points, she joyfully takes the damage to herself and both opponents. Taking her down proves tougher than expected, as the Sherry clones keep saving each other's ass. At one point she almost convinces Crow to join her side, but the power of friendship is too strong. With solid teamwork, Crow and Akiza manage to defeat Sherry and stop the first gear. The skull falls, but instead of crushing anyone, everyone is saved and healed by Black Rose Dragon. So, welcome back in the team, Sherry! Who gets the next duel? Looks like it's Jack and the kiddos taking on Susanoorobomon next. And to spice things up, Aporia takes out the Heartstoppers and Shackles. It's a 3-on-1 duel and Aporia's feeling pretty generous here. Everyone gets 4000 life points and the three take their turns in order, but Aporia gets to start. So he instantly activates a field spell to network himself into the duel and become one with it. So if anyone's life points hit 0, so do their lives. Guess he's taking the term life points a bit too seriously. And weren't those blue things supposed to do that? Anyway, Aporia summons 2 monsters and Leo takes his turn, summoning one of his own. But he falls for a trap, dealing damage to every player equal to 200 times the number of stars on the summoned monster. Leo only takes minimal damage, but Luna takes the full hit and cosplays Yamcha. Jack wants to end it quickly, bypassing the trap on his turn and summons his Archfiend, which Leo buffs, only for Aporia to weaken it again, boosting his own monster in the process. Then it's Aporia's turn again, takes some damage, but he doesn't care at all, since he's just a machine and cleans up the field, taking out Jack's and Luna's remaining life points, leaving them out cold. So it's only Leo left. But a quick power nap is all it takes for Luna and Jack to get back on their feet. Despite Leo being the only one with plenty of literal life points left, he hesitates and doesn't make much of his turn, while the others keep giving it their all. Both are down to just 100 life points when they face the ultimate monster, which draws power from the machines to grow even stronger. Leo finds his courage and can weaken the mechanical worm at the cost of some life points. He drops himself even further to just 100 life points to summon monsters that allow both him and Luna to summon a synchro monster each, even if he has to give his own life for it and dies. But it's all part of the plan. An effect activates, reviving him with 100 life points, keeping him in the game, and so earns his own mark of the Crimson Dragon. At long last, he gets his own dragon, breaking free from his toys. His effect saves the day, boosting everyone's life points back up to 2000. With his attack already laying the groundwork and dealing some damage, Luna follows up, bringing synchro monsters back into the fight. That leaves Jack, who summons his Archfiend once more, destroying all of Aporia's face-up spells and traps. This clears the way for Nova, though Aporia's monster tries to block the attack. Leo and Luna weaken it just enough for Nova to go right through, slicing clean like Trunks through Freezer. Duel 1. Opponent defeated, and the second gear stops working. 2 down, 1 to go, where Yusei and Bruno arrive. Upon arrival, Bruno is literally enlightened. He regains all his memories. Turns out, he was never a CP9 agent and isn't even named Bruno, but antinomy, and is the next big obstacle on Yusei's path. The Rainbow Road forms once again, and the loser of this duel won't get another chance. So Bruno wastes no time, starting off with a Synchro Summon that deals some early damage to Yusei. He tries to show his own synchro skills, but he doesn't quite pull it off. Back to Bruno, who not just summons one synchro monster, but also using an Axel synchro to bring out his main card. With it and another monster, he inflicts even more damage. Back then, in the future, Bruno was a top tier duelist, dominating tournament after tournament, until the advent of synchros triggered the robot uprising, shooting everything down. Bruno himself nearly died, if Yusei wouldn't save him. Yes, future Yusei is the one. Back in the duel, present day Yusei summons Stardust Dragon and evolves it into Shooting Star Dragon. At last he's able to deal some damage. But Bruno isn't done yet. You think summoning 2 synchro monsters is the limit? Don't tell me you're about to! Oh, I am. Look! Here is another synchro monster, changed 1 for 2, and now I synchro summon my true main card with a 3 times synchro of Synchro Summons. Oh shit! The new end boss can bring a monster that was banished for 1 turn back into play, weaken it, and then attack again. Yusei manages to fend off destruction, but he's left with just 100 life points. Not unfair enough. This monster can also negate summons. Barely surviving the next round and noticing a black hole forming behind them, casually dealing with few comets. Ah, come on, Saitama could bench press 2 of those on his leg day. Yusei's mark begins to glow, so it's time to turn the duel around. So how about an infinite attack loop? Blocked. Fine, time for a new card, which deals 800 damage every time Stardust Dragon attacks, and since he can draw 5 cards and attack for each tuner monster he gets, he just does that and gets 3 of them, landing enough hits to send Bruno into the black hole. Yusei gets sucked in too, but at least they finally have a quiet moment to talk. Bruno reveals he orchestrated everything so Yusei could learn about Delta Axel Synchro and, hopefully, save the world. Because he is a real friend. That's why he helps Yusei escape the black hole at the cost of his own life. The final gear has stopped working, but at what cost? Bruno. Reunited with the others, Yusei explains everything about Bruno's sacrifice. On a scrapyard surrounded by stone tablets, they face him. The one and only. The mastermind so deep in the plot, he even did the YuGiOh Bonds Beyond Time movie. It's time for the final duel. But not for Yusei, but Susanoorobomon. Now more like Susanoorobomon. Wait a second, didn't you die? Twice? Who says that? The rules of our duel? You know, life points tied to actual life? Remember? Ridiculous! Never underestimate the power of plot armor. I mean, hope. The one assembles a deck from the stone tablets to show us how cool he is. One robot after another appears on the field, only to be immediately countered and erased by the one's angel cards. Quick on the field, getting countered quick as well, so they doesn't stay for long. But it is also really unfair against the father of the Time Wizard, which can't be destroyed, sends all monsters back to the hand after a battle and deals damage as well with that. Time for the third robot, which is just a sacrifice to destroy his own deck. So now he can activate Afterglow, shuffling it back into his deck, and if he draws it, his opponent takes 4000 damage. At least that's the plan. Before that, the current Time God has to go, making way for a new one, which is also indestructible, and after attacking, it shuffles every monster on the field and in the graveyard back into the deck. Hope erased. And a draw now deals 1000 damage. Life points erased. Aporia upgrades Yusei's D-Wheel with wings before taking his final shutdown. This time for real. And now it begins. The true final duel between Yusei and the One. But not in the dome, but in New Domino City itself, where everyone can witness it. For this battle, Yusei receives the dragon cards from all his friends. With this power, nothing can possibly go wrong. So let's go for a duel in the sky. The one, the true Aizen of the YuGiOh universe, has planned every move in detail. So the duel begins and the one starts with his first time god. One effect after another doesn't get Yusei any gods, but instead 5 monsters. Those quickly get Synchro Summoned into Black Winged and Arc Fiend. The one's turn ends in nothing happens, and after Yusei takes 1000 damage, he summons Black Rose Dragon using its effect, paired with a trap card, to deal the one 1500 damage. So who's got more life points now? The impact is so intense, it sends the one crashing into a skyscraper, shattering his mask. It is Yusei from the future! Sure, we already pieced that together from Bruno's flashbacks, but let's act like it's the biggest twist ever. And since Yusei is basically playing against his own walkthrough, the one knows all his strategies. So everything he did up until now was completely pointless. Thanks to a trap card, he summons 3 time gods. Yusei manages to block the first attack, but the other 2 hit home, restoring the one to 4000 life points, while forcing Yusei to shuffle all 3 of his synchro monsters back into the deck. But this isn't actually future Yusei. The one is a scientist, more like Dr. Gero, who rebuilt himself into a replica of Yusei, complete with his deck and a metal horse. Like that, he became humanity's last hope. But there wasn't enough time. Humanity's negativity caused the energy to flow in reverse, leading to the world's destruction. The real Yusei, however, wants to change the future in winning the duel. He summons Luna's Dragon and faces off against 5 time gods all at once. Which is honestly ridiculously unfair, since Yusei has no idea what effects the time gods have, so he doesn't know when to use his scarecrow. But also because he's effectively playing against himself, he manages to time it just right. He blocks the 3rd attack, the 4th wipes his field, and just before the 5th could have caused his defeat, he barely manages to survive. The new trap, however, keeps the time gods on the field. And now, time is almost up. Yusei is hit, thrown from his D wheel and loses all hope. It seems like the end, until a light shines, and he gets a fatherly slap back to his senses. With renewed energy, Yusei summons Luna's Dragon to restore some of his life points. He can't finish this alone. Only with the power of friendship does he fly into the stratosphere, summoning all the dragons, which he weakens first, transforming into Golden Yusei with a golden D-wheel. And with the Crimson Dragon's power, he unleashes a level 5 Synchro Summon to summon the shooting Corsair Dragon. The ultimate Axel Synchro Summon. This boy not only can attack 5 times, but he also nullifies the time god's indestructibility effects, and if it's destroyed, Shooting Star Dragon is summoned in its place. With a clear path, he can land a direct attack on him. But the duel is far from over. The one summons his ultimate time god, bringing 4 more to the field, and gets queued 20,000 attack points. Shooting Star Dragon can't do anything about that. But Yusei can. He activates a trap card to nullify the damage and bring back Stardust Dragon, which is powered up by every dragon in the graveyard, reaching an astronomical 23,000 attack points. Plus, it can attack once for each synchro monster. With each attack, Stardust Dragon grows weaker, but so does the Time God. In the final blow, Yusei channels all the energy into a combined strike, finally defeating the one. But their city is still in freefall. Their friends as well, until they are saved by the Crimson Dragon. Yusei, however, chooses to stay behind to use the reversed energy to delete the city, which the one takes over to ensure Yusei survives to build a new future. Minna! Tadaima! Life moves on in New Domino City with Buggy as Major. Akiza is about to graduate, Crow has become a police officer, Yusei is following in his father's footsteps as a scientist, revolutionizing the world's energy network, and Jack destroys Gregor, Sherry and Kellen in a duel, proving himself that he's the king of games. But actually, they were just warm-ups. Their real boss fight, of course, is against Yusei, who doesn't duel anymore. And what about the future? Luna and Leo now have the chance to move back in with their parents, but that would mean leaving New Domino City. Akiza wants to study medicine, but she would have to leave the city too. Crow is also considering leaving, as he and Jack have been invited to join the professional leagues. Even Yusei is unsure what comes next after having fulfilled his role. Well, actually he does. After all, the duel against Jack is on. Yusei wastes no time summoning Stardust Dragon straight away. So Jack matches his energy, summoning his Archfiend, which gets banished together with Stardust Dragon into the future. Yusei sets up for a one-hit kill, but got shot down. Nitro Warrior doesn't last long as well. Jack destroys it and deals significant damage to Yusei. Nitro doesn't work, so there will be Turbo, taking out Jack's monster and landing his first blow. But Jack isn't about to let that slide and destroys the Turbo Warrior with his Flame Sword's Vista. As they are locked in with their own Dragon Ball Z moments, Akiza, Leo, Luna and Crow decide their own ninja way. The dragons return to the field, with Jack wasting no time, digitizing his dragon to the mega level. But how does this duel thriller end? Leo and Luna, now older, are living in London. Crow has decided to leave his championship winning team, giving his spot to Leo so he can focus on single tournaments to challenge the king of games himself, Jack Atlas. Akiza, now a doctor, reflects on the duel, giving us the information of how it ended, though Jack spoiled it already. Yusei summons Shooting Star Dragon, capable of attacking 3 times. He takes down Flame Swordsman Vista, but hesitates to challenge a 6000 attack point Nova. Instead, Nova strikes, only for Shooting Star Dragon to match its 6000 attack points, which brings back the Archfiend. Yusei counters with Junk Warrior, boosted to immense strength. His decision for the future is set as well. He will stay in the city, in which he defeats Jack one more time with his real ace card. So it's all decided. Leo and Luna leave for England, Crow says goodbye to the orphanage kids, Akiza parts ways with her parents, Jack turns down his 3 admirers, and Akiza and Yusei almost confess their feelings to each other. But they couldn't do it at the end, so it ends with just a normal goodbye. As morning comes, the group sets off one last time, the Crimson Dragon retrieves their marks, everyone gives Yusei a final high five, and everyone goes their separate ways. And with that, YuGiOh Peak D's comes to an end.
ここから先は俺たちが作り出す未来。走り続けようぜみんな。人生という名のライディングデュエルを。
Let's get to a conclusion. We've got 20 absolutely amazing episodes, no mediocre or bad ones. That speaks for itself. Even if I'm probably still not a fan of synchros in the TCG, the anime showed that it's simply the most epic stuff. For me, this was the best season in all of YuGiOh.